As of version 2.44, we have some surface modeling tools to generate a surface. The best way to do it is to use the orthopanels, which there's another tutorial video on. But to do that, let's go to interpretations, and we're going to make a dip azimuth measurement, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 points, and I'm going to add in an orthopanel based on that orientation, and then I'm going to, in my orthopanel, I'm going to improve the pixel resolution, regenerate, and double click. I'm going to move the orthopanel back out to in front of the area that I want to look at. I'm going to extend the far clip plane, and again we do a regenerate and switch the lights off, so we've got shading only from the photographs. So we're now looking directly down structural dip, and if I use the mouse wheel, you're effectively moving this orthopanel down structural dip and maintaining the orientation of the orthopanel along strike. Right. Now we can interpret on the orthopanel. So I'll go to draw polyline, and I'm going to just put a few data points, and we can see where that point would be. I'll just switch off the planes on the polylines, and I can move that panel and draw another polyline along what would be the same bedding plane. Let's stop that. Let's switch off the mesh that we've got at the moment. I'm going to switch that mesh back on, and I'm going to bring it even further out and then do a regenerate. There we go. That's good. So we're now looking directly down that structural dip. Right. So you can see the line there. It's projected the existing interpretations onto the orthopanel when I did the regenerate. So when you regenerate a panel, it will put your interpretations onto the panel as well, but that's quite good because it has a guideline to show us which surface we're working on. And move the panel further across, and then I can do another set of points across like that. Let's bring up our mesh again. And we can see our data points now like that. So we can change our orthopanel. So if I subtract 90 from it, and I change the dip from 15 to being 0, we should now have a perfect strike panel. So I will again go to my ortho panel. I'm going to regenerate on this one. So I'm going to bring it back here and change the height, put it up to 15, and we'll do a regenerate again, and there's our panel, and now we can see where our points intersect with the panel, so we could put some extra points in here, interpret along this direction. Now obviously as you're doing this, it's going to be quite a flat surface, and just reprojecting this in 2D, you can introduce some interpretive variation into it if you want. But I'm just going to stick with more or less what we see on the outcrops. So we can then take this to this stage where we're looking just at the 3D model. I'm going to switch off my ortho panel, and then I'm going to interpret remember, shift while you're interpreting. Pause is interpretation, allows you to move and navigate. And there's the end. So I've now created a set of polylines which are delimiting that surface in 3D. So I'm going to go to my data tab, I'm going to switch off my mesh, and then I'm going to select we need to be able to do the selection. I need to switch on in the polylines. We need to do the show planes. And that allows you, it's easier to select the planes with that. So there we go. So we can select multiple planes with the holding down control. Because once you show this plane, there's actually something to select. Now the planes for this will have just a random or an invalid orientation, because most of them are derived from straight lines, so you can't work out an orientation. So the orientations of the individual polylines won't be used. But now I've got those selected by holding down the control key. So it's control to do multiple select, not shift. We then have our build surface button becomes active. I can select that, and we should, in our data tab, then have a new triangular mesh formed which matches those polylines. So we can switch off our polyline interpretation and go back to show our 3D model with our 3D surface put in place. Now it's very basic surface modeling at the moment. This will be extended with new tools and features in future versions of VRGS, but at least it allows you to generate some simple surfaces. You can use these surfaces and the same approaches for building faults as well as building these horizons.